Hey everyone, I'm Matt. Welcome to my Touareg, or my Touareg. I've done a few videos on this vehicle before. This is my 2010 Touareg TDI, and I've driven this thing to Utah twice, so I've already gone on some longish road trips with it. I've put, I don't know, probably around 5,000 miles on it since I got it, so maybe a little more. So I've had some experience doing longer road trips in this thing, and we're about to embark on a 10-day overland, camp out of your vehicle style trip. It's going to be around 3,500 miles, so we're going to be spending quite a bit of time inside of this thing, and we're going to be doing some unsupported camping out of it. Having had the experience of some longer road trips in this thing and knowing what I've got coming up, I wanted to make a few changes, specifically to my USB and 12-volt power sockets in this thing for our upcoming trip. Now this thing already actually has quite a few power sockets. We've got this built-in USB-A port here. We have a 12-volt power socket right here, which I've got a little adapter in here with a USB-C and USB-A. Behind the center console, we're going to go upside down here. There's another 12-volt power socket right there. And then in the back of the vehicle, got even more. We've got two 12-volt power sockets here. We've got one here, and we've got this one here, which I have another adapter in with USB-A and USB-C. And then we've got our 150-watt inverter right here. So it seems like we've got enough, right? Well, the issue is all of these things right here will only work when the key is left in the ignition. And I want to be able to charge things when the car is off. The other issue is this inverter. 150 watts is enough for 99% of the things I'm going to use, but one of my battery chargers pulls about 250 watts when it first starts charging, and so this is not enough. I'm going to bring a portable inverter with me. 250 watts is actually a lot of power. I'm going to actually have to wire in a 20 amp power socket for that inverter. So those are the changes we're going to make. We're going to wire in a couple extra power sockets, and we're going to wire them. We're going to put a fuse in line, but we're going to wire them essentially directly to the battery so they're on all the time, even without the key in the ignition. Now what I want to do is put them in the center console. This USB-A port is actually a little bit useless because it's only, I believe, a 1 amp, so it's a 5-watt USB port. That's not very good for today's modern USB devices. So we're going to replace this with a USB power supply. We're going to add an additional always-on USB power supply, and we're going to add an always-on 12-volt power socket, and we're going to add a quad lock mount for my phone, probably right here, so the phone will sit something like this. Now this is all the stuff I've got. I've got my quad lock set up right here with a wireless charging head and a mount and a ball pivot. And then I got these 3 plugs here. So I've got this one right here, which has 2 USB-Cs and 2 USB-As. These are PD ports, but I believe they're only, I don't know, maybe they're 25-watt ports, something like that. So good for fast charging on my phone and my iPad and other USB-C devices. I've got this one right here, which only has 1 USB-A and 1 USB-C, but the USB-C is a 65-watt charger, so that will do the super fast charging on my iPad and my phone. And then I've got a 12-volt just standard power socket here. So these are the power sockets we're going to be adding. I'm actually not going to be using the factory wiring that these sockets came with, because that is 16 gauge copper clad aluminum wire, and if I try and pass 25 amps through that, that thing is just going to melt right down. So I do have some 10 gauge pure oxygen free copper with silicone jacketing on it that we're going to be using. I will post links to all of this stuff in the video description, so if you guys want to do something similar in your vehicle, you know at least what parts that I used. Now I'll be honest with you, I've never had this center console off. I don't know how much space is down in here. I hope there's enough space. So first things first, I've got to pop this thing out of here. Now, like I said, I've never had this off of here, so I don't really know how it comes out of here. Hopefully I don't damage it. I do have these good body panel removal tools. Can't remember where I got these. Probably Amazon, maybe Harbor Freight, I don't know. Does look like that's how that comes out of there, so. two separate pieces here somehow. Well, so this is interesting. There's another hole right here already. And it does look like I've got quite a bit of space down in here. There's foam in here, but there's plenty of room for my power sockets to go down in here. I don't know about this thing. Try and take it out and see see if it's something that I can retrofit. The other piece of useful real estate I've got is this pocket right here. Now I know on some highly optioned Touaregs, there's a knob here for the air suspension. This vehicle doesn't have that, so I've just got that little pretty much useless pocket right there. Maybe I can 3D print something that will hold a power socket there or something like that. I don't know. I'll consider this as I'm doing this project. Ah, screws. There are 2 screws in here. Torx. Alright, I did a little bit of test fitting and everything, and I've determined that my quad lock mount just isn't going to work anywhere down here. I think there's no place good to put it, that it's not going to interfere with my knee, or, you know, there's not quite enough room to mount it here with the bezel for the shifter and everything. So, rather than jerry-rig something together, I was thinking about 3D printing something. I don't know. I just gave up on mounting it down low, and so I'm actually going to mount it right there. It's actually going to work pretty good right there. I'll mount my phone in landscape mode sideways, and that'll actually work great. It's not going to impede my vision at all, and yeah, I'll just have to run a cord from the wireless charging head down to one of my jacks down here, but that'll be okay. So we'll do this after we get all of our power plugs in here. So utilizing the factory power socket location, I've got my 65 watt USB power supply screwed into place. The factory hole actually worked great for the nut right there. It's actually locked into place, so yeah, it's not going to move at all. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 more holes, one here and then one right about here, and then I'll mount my 2 extra power sockets right there. So I'm going to go get a hole saw for that. Hopefully we don't destroy anything when we drill this. No going back now. Well, after a few minutes of finagling, I ended up putting some 1 1/8" rubber O-rings in here from my O-ring assortment. And that took up the gap between these 2 plastic pieces and allowed me to really cinch down on these 2, you know, my power port and my USB power supply. So anyway, everything is good from there. I think I can wire this up now. Now I'll show you this tool here. This is a triple square bit. It's actually got 12 points. Working on one of these Volkswagens, you really need a triple square, a Torx, a Phillips, a metric set. Allen wrenches. Be nice if they just stick with one, but they didn't. So once we've got those front bolts removed, we've got to tilt the seat forward, give it enough room to rock back here. There we go. There's our battery right here. Under seat booty, I have 25 cents, not a silver one, a match, 2 French fries, and 2 old sticks of gum, with wrappers included. Alright, there's our battery. The guy did tell me it was new. It does say January of 2025, that's good. So there's like a power distribution panel in under here. I happen to know. I don't know how this comes out here. Oh, there we go. And this is what we're going to tap into. See, there's some fuses and stuff right here. I can tap into one of these, put an inline fuse, and run power right up here to our center console where our new power supplies are. Well, this is my solution for my power distribution. I'm coming off this bus bar right here, going into this 30 amp breaker. So to reset this thing, you basically just go like that. I will say, so this is 10 gauge. I ordered it as oxygen-free, pure copper, silicone jacketed wire. It is not pure copper. This is copper-clad aluminum. At 10 gauge, it'll still work fine for this circuit, but it's pretty frustrating. It's a common thing to find on Amazon. Chinese distributors just lie about what it is that they're selling. Copper-clad aluminum doesn't have the same current carrying capability that pure copper does. So I don't have time to fight over it, so I'm simply going to bend over and take it up the tailpipe. Suppose I should have checked when I bought it. I should have known and been suspicious, but I wasn't. I trusted those unscrupulous Chinese sellers. Well, I've got this fish rod right here running down underneath the carpet and the end of my line taped to it here. So these fish rods are super useful for this kind of thing. Don't use them all the time, but when you need them, they're super handy. Well, we've got everything installed. I guess it's time to try it out. And we'll start with this. No smoke. That's good. A Lights on here. That's good. Now we need to turn the key on to get that one on. Let's grab that real quick. See, this is the issue. I gotta like power up everything. Not just the stereo, not just the accessory mode, but the dash and, you know, the HVAC system and everything has to be powered up for this thing to come on. You know, I want to be able to charge it without wasting a bunch of power. Let's try this PD port here. See what my phone says. Super fast charging 2.0. All right, so that one works. Let's see if I can get this thing out of here without breaking it. Don't want to break it, that's for sure. All right, after much off-camera cursing and swearing, I got this thing out. Basically, the front end hooks in here, and then the back end latches in with all these latches here. I actually saved all of them. This one cracked in the center when it came out, but otherwise, they're all intact. Pretty happy about that. Okay, now I can drill my holes and anchor my quad lock in there. Well, this is what I came up with. There's actually plenty of room underneath this tray up here, so I think it'll work just fine. Look at that. This one will go back in here. The other one will go away. Go away. Let's see if this works. Look at that. Nice. Now I just need to run power down from this down to here with one of these short cables. Well, I'd say I did my best here. This is the command center that I ended up with. Should have my standard RAM mount for my Yaesu FT3D VHF radio. This is a dual band radio, but I'll be using VHF. Got my phone mounted right there for navigation. The phone is charging wirelessly with the quad lock mount. I had a couple of these cable keeper type clips with adhesive backs, so I put those on. That way the cable's not dangling down in front of everything. I do have it plugged into my always on USB port there. I actually can turn this off. So if the car is going to be parked for an extended period of time, you know that's turned off. Now you may notice I did end up adding a screw right here. I'm going to paint that black. Yeah, I know it's a little bit obtrusive, but there was just no other way with this clip broken. This is a piece of plastic right here that's it's just a flange that's not being used, so if I ever replace this face piece right here with a new one without a broken clip, then I can remove that screw, and I haven't damaged anything other than this face piece, which is already damaged because the clip is broken. So but the quad lock mount is nice and solid. I'm pretty happy with that. The phone goes in and out of there pretty easily without rubbing on anything, so I think that'll work pretty good for navigation for me. So what we've added is an always-on USB power supply that has two USB-C PD ports and two QC 3.0 USB-A ports. We've added a 30 amp capable power socket right here. We've replaced the factory USB-A with this setup right here, which will only be on when the key is on. But this one's a QC 3.0 and a USB-C PD port. And yeah, that's it. Quite a bit of effort, actually. I've spent all day working on this, but it It will be nice to be able to charge my phone and other devices without having to have the engine in the run position. Well, thanks for following along on this one, guys. We'll catch you on the next video.